Hey, it's Megan for Wowalk, and we're going to talk about shortening zippers today. Not the down and dirty way like I talked about last time, but the way that other people tend to do it if they have clamps and they have the time and they have the energy, because it's a little bit difficult. So you're going to have to struggle along here with me, okay? When we are doing it, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Like we talked about last time, the down and dirty way, which is just using the sewing machine. You could use your hands when you're doing it. Some people like to use the super glue, and like I've said previously, I'm not really a big fan of super glue. I don't think it's very super. I don't really like it very much. You tend to kind of stick your fingers together, so I don't really like super glue very much. But you can use super glue on the plastic zippers. Don't use super glue on the industrial metal zippers because it's obviously not going to work. So when working with the industrial zippers, you can do the same that I said before with the down and dirty way, which is using your sewing machine or using hand sewing, or you can do it the way that I'm going to show you today. Like I said before, you're going to struggle with me because it is a bit difficult. I don't have very big muscles or arm strength, so it is going to take a couple pulling. You might see a little bit of frustration in my face, but that's the beauty of being a human, right? Frustration. So let's get down to it. Okay, so what we're going to do is measure the zipper first. When you first measure, you obviously need to have your beautiful tape measure, and you're going to just measure the length of the zipper if you don't already know what it is. This blue zipper is about 29 inches, and I want to shorten it. So it's about 29 inches or so, and I want to shorten it to about 22 and a half. So what I did was I used my scissors, which you never want to use your best shears for this because you're cutting through metal, and that can stunt the blade and not make it work when you're working with your fabric. So you never want to use your fabric scissors for this. So what I did was I just snipped through, and I'm going to do it on one side to show you how to do it, and then I'll actually snip through on the other side as well. So after you snip through, you're going to notice that at the top part of your zipper, there's this zipper stop, and you want to remove that zipper stop. So I will use my clamps, these beautiful things right here, to remove. You can also remove it with your needle nose pliers, but needle nose pliers for me are a little bit more difficult, and I like to use them when putting the clamp back on. So what you're going to do is you're just going to lift up on the end, and you're going to try and come at it from a parallel angle and just really get down into it and press down as hard as you can, pulling away with your clamp and hoping that it comes off a little bit easier for you than it does for me, because it is a bit of a pain in the rear to get it off. But if you want it done like this and you want it to look nice and you don't want to have that different colored thread or even the same colored thread on it, this is the way you do it. Once again, like I said, it's a bit difficult. So now I'm starting to pull away with my zipper, and you don't want to hurt the zipper, even though I look like I am. Okay. So I'm getting little bit by little bit. Every single time I'm clamping down on this sucker, I'm getting little bit by little bit. Okay, come on, zipper stop. The struggle, right? Just like labor. Struggle, 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 and then finally you get to the end and you think to yourself, I could do that again. There we go. I'm feeling it come off. There we go. Okay, so when it's finally removed, you're going to lay it off to the side, and I have already removed the one side of this over here. So it's going to look just like the teeth. The teeth are going to be the only things left. And when you're shortening it, you don't have to remove all the teeth. You just have to remove 2 or 3 that are at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it again to make sure that it's even on both sides. All the way up. Measure it over. Make sure that it's nice and aligned. And then I'm going to make my slit again. And you're going to cut in between the teeth of the zipper. You don't want to cut over top of any of the metal pieces. So you want to cut in between. So like this. And remember, always use the shears that are not you using every time for fabric, because you're just going to hurt them. And shears are really expensive. Okay, so now that we got the zipper stop off, now we're going to start removing the teeth. When you remove the teeth, just place them off to the side because you don't want to step on them because they can be a little bit harsh. So what you do is you can take your needle nose pliers to remove them. And like I said before, this is a bit of a struggle when you're removing them because they're meant to stay in. They're not meant to come out. So let's just pull away. You're struggling with this with me, right? This is something that we're doing together. We can share the stories after. Okay, so this is almost off. And if you have bigger needle nose pliers, maybe it'll be easier for you. But you don't want to hurt the zipper, which is going to be the most difficult part of this whole thing, is not ruining the upper part of the zipper, because you do want to use it again. This is the part of the zipper that you do want to use. So I'm just going to be pulling it off, finally, got it off. Okay, and you're going to have a little bit of this excess left over, which is why you want to be really careful, because like I said before, you don't want to hurt the zipper. Okay, and you're going to do a third one. You don't have to do a third one, but I like to do it because sometimes I'm left with that stuff, like I said before, because it can be somewhat difficult. So you can do a third one, or you can just leave it here. I feel like I have enough room where I could put the zipper stop back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the zipper stop that I took off of this top piece up here, and I'm going to place it over the center like so. And then I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and I'm just going to clamp it down again. So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers, hopefully do this a little bit more gracefully than I did when I was taking my stuff off. Okay, get it nice and squared, holding on to it like so. Okay, and then place it over where you want it and squeeze, 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 squeeze as hard as you can. Okay, now that zipper clamp is back on it, the zipper stop. So now I have to do it on the other side. Same thing. Are we ready to struggle again? Ugh. This is going to start giving you some palm strength. Not that anyone needs palm strength, but so let's start pulling apart these little pieces. Okay, just 2 or 3. Ooh, that one came off a little bit easier. Beauteous. Okay, and then the same thing with this. I guess you get the hang of it when you do it more frequently. And I'm just kind of moving it back and forth to loosen it up from the fabric that it's attached to. Oh, come on, mister. Okay, just a couple more pulls. And these are pretty expensive zippers, so that's why you want to try and like take your time and do it one fell swoop and be a little bit more graceful about it. So you might want to practice before you do it on a really expensive one, on one that has a metal. Oh, see, look at that. Beautiful. On one that isn't so expensive. All right, so because I kind of maneuvered it a little bit off to the side and kind of made some frills, I'm going to cut those frills off like so that it looks professionally done. And then I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to take my zipper stop. Where'd my zipper stop go? Oh, right here. Okay, beautiful. And I'm going to place it in the center of my clamp, my needle nose pliers. I'm going to put it on top right here of where I want it to go, and then I'm going to squeeze as hard as I possibly can, probably closer down to the edge. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay? And now let's see if it works. Ready? Beautiful. Now that is not the down and dirty way, but the very aggravating and hard to do way, but it gets the job done and it makes it look like it was professionally done. You don't have to take it anywhere and it looks like you know exactly what you're doing. So that is how you shorten a zipper, when you're using your clamps and when you are using your needle nose pliers and your zipper stops. Okay? So I'm Megan. Hope this helps. See you next time.